Hello, everybody. It's Trinity Bird, the executive director at the Sauk. Welcome to another one of our Meet the Playwrights. Today's is pretty exciting because it's a Michigan playwright that we're very excited to have for the Sauk Shorts, which is happening. Let's see, when this goes live, it'll be 1 week from now at the Slayton Arboretum at the Hillsdale College campus. Performances are July 23rd and 25th at 8 o'clock and July 25th and 26th at 3 o'clock. There is no Friday performance for this show. Tickets are on sale now, and we are posting today all of the requirements for safety and all the different things that we'll have to do and how we're going to keep you and our performers safe and let you still enjoy a really fun night of theater that includes this really great short play. Before we even talk about it, let me bring him in live from West Bloomfield, Michigan. It's Tony Targan. Tony, hi.
Hey, Trinity. How are you doing?
There he is. I'm well. I'm very well. All things considered. What else can we be? I guess. I know.
Right.
So your play. Well, let's go back. Let's go back to where you're from, what you do, how you started writing, all of those fun things. Tell us your story, Tony.
In a nutshell, I was born in Syracuse, New York. Grew up in upstate New York. We tended to live wherever my dad's jobs took us. He was a college professor, and he taught creative writing and English literature.
Okay.
So I sort of have writing in my blood, but I didn't really start writing plays until about 6 or 7 years ago. I was writing more sports writing and running. I did a little bit of writing for ESPN.com and also a regular contributor to Michigan Runner magazine, which in addition to theater, running is my other passion.
Nice.
So playwriting started about 2014 with the Rosedale Community Players One Act Festival.
Okay.
I wrote a 10-minute play called Synchronicity, where at a certain point in the play, something happens, and then after that point, all of the dialogue is spoken song lyrics, mainly about love and relationships. So
nice.
I didn't really know what I was doing then. I had 10 characters for a 10-minute play, but it was a lot of fun, and it got me started. And I tend to write comedies, but I have been delving into some of the darker side lately too.
Sure. So the play that you're doing. So what we should say to everyone is usually with Sauk Shorts, we put out a call for scripts, and people submit them. But your play we found in a much different way. Last year at Act Fest in Owasso, your play was performed as one of the competition pieces. And almost halfway through it, I think, one of the other people leaned over and said, "We have to do this." And that was before we even knew the resolution or anything. And I think almost unanimously, the second your play was done, before the adjudication even started, pretty much everyone in my group looked at me and was like, "Get this play." So it was pretty no-brainer for me to talk to you and say, "How can I get your play?" The play's called Turbulence.
Yeah, I can give you some of the backstory of that if you like.
Please.
So the basic premise is that a couple people meet on a plane, and they start talking about all of the things that people hate about airline travel,
right?
Including obnoxious other passengers who show up late and take the last seat next to you, and then are close talkers and do all the things that people find annoying. So of course that's who shows up and sits next to them.
Yes.
And without giving anything away, I'll say that we often find that people are united by the things that we dislike, maybe even more than the things that we like. So this play was actually first written for the Rosedale Community Players One Act Festival. And one thing that was really interesting to me that provided some interesting, depth or meaning to the play was that while I was still writing it, a friend of mine who works for an animal rescue charity asked me if I'd be willing to auction off the naming rights to one of the characters in my play. And this is something I'd never done before. And I told her, "Look, I don't even know if this play is going to be accepted or performed, but I'm flattered, but sure, if somebody wants to do that." So apparently, the winning bidder bought the naming rights not for themselves, but for their sister-in-law, a woman named Georgia Graham, who I then named the lead character in my play after Georgia. The reason this woman wanted to buy the naming rights to a character in a play was that Georgia Graham was terminally ill with cancer, and they thought that this would be a way that they could sort of preserve her memory and give her, just sort of a parting gift. So they actually, after the play was written, and I rewrote part of it to accommodate Georgia,
Mhm.
they did a family reading for her, and she just loved it. She thought it was wonderful, and it was shortly before she passed, which was 2 years ago. And then when the play opened in Southfield, all of her friends and family came, and they got to see
Wow,
Georgia Graham sort of reincarnated. So
that's
um,
fantastic.
yeah, so that's a story that gives it a little more meaning for me as a playwright, and the fact that this will now be the fourth time that it's been performed, because it went on to be performed, as you saw, at ACFest.
Mhm.
And then there was a student production at Michigan State University that did a nice job with it, and now it's Sauk Shorts. So it's been fun, to see it interpreted in different ways, and
Sure.
it's always a thrill for a playwright to get to see his play produced. But
Right.
the fact that Turbulence lives on and sort of preserves the memory of Georgia Graham gives it extra special meaning for me.
Sure. That's fantastic. And at ACFest, it won the Audience Choice Award.
Yep, People's Choice Award based on audience voting, which, even though it didn't proceed to the regional round, to me, that was
Yeah.
even more gratifying, that sort of judged by my peers, which, everybody in the audience there is a
Yeah.
theater person.
Yeah.
That just meant the world to me. So that was
And
nice.
it's one of those plays that I think our audience is going to love it too. But you get in a room full of theater people who just want to belly laugh, and it was such a fun. It was just a fun experience to experience your play with an audience full of theater people. Um, one of the things that's been interesting about doing the Sauk Shorts the way we're doing it this year is we're in an outdoor venue. The stage floor is grass.
Mhm.
So we'll ask the audience to suspend their disbelief a little bit that we're in an airplane, much more than we would have if we've done it on stage, where we would have probably built something. But it still works, and it's still extremely funny. Um, for our Sauk audiences, Ron Boyle, who's one of our audience favorite directors, is directing the piece, and we've got a nice mix of Sauk veterans in it, and our one and only in the Sauk Shorts first time actress at the Sauk is in Turbulence. So
Oh.
it's a great fun cast. And I know I haven't seen the full run through of it yet, but I've been in the other side of the area, and they sure are laughing a lot. So
Hmm. One side note that was interesting for me, because when we took the play to ACFest, the actor who had played the airline captain
Mm,
had to drop out, so I filled in. It was just a voiceover role, because the captain doesn't appear on stage. He just
right.
has some offstage lines, as does the flight attendant. So um, it was, the play is written to sort of simulate real air travel and a real conversation at first, and then it starts to get sillier and more absurd as you go along. But
Right.
standing backstage, saying those sort of early announcements from the captain, it was just eerily quiet. We didn't get any reaction for the first 2 minutes, and I was starting to panic that, oh no, people aren't going to like this. And then once we got the first laugh, I could exhale, and then after that, it just kind of built and built and built
Yeah.
to the conclusion. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it was bizarre, sort of being in the cast and the playwright, but not being able to engage with the audience right away. So,
Sure. Well, we think it's fantastic, and I'm really excited to hear the audience react to it.
hmm.
Uh, so that is your play. I think ends the first half of. We thought we'd put it at the end of the first act to send everybody in intermission with a good thing to chat about. So how's lockdown been? Are you writing anything right now? Are you working on anything?
Yeah, I've actually been fairly active writing short plays. I think the sort of the new normal, at least for the short term, is plays that can be performed on Zoom. So I've written a couple with sort of that in mind. One of them is called The B Word. It was written as part of a challenge to write a play within 24 hours. And then the actors also had 24 hours to perform it. So The B Word is about an old Jewish couple that's going through the security line at the airport, and they're kind of being shepherded by this TSA agent. And one of them accidentally mentions the B word, which is bomb, which sort of sets off a series of reactions. So that's one play. And then another one, which is very different for me, that I've just written, is called Our Worst Nightmare, which is being written for a horror festival. And it's about parents who are trying to get their daughter back. She's been abducted. So not funny at all, but very, very different stuff. But yeah, I'm trying to branch out, trying to stay busy. I've been doing a lot of, we have something called the Quarantine Players Guild here, which we sort of use as a forum to read each other's plays in progress and get feedback for the playwright. So I've been both a reader and a writer for that. Oh, one play that I did have performed as part of the Quarantine Players Guild, which has a lot of special meaning for me, is it's called Harry Belton and the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto, which was actually a short story written by my father, Barry Targan, and published in Esquire magazine back in 1966 when I was probably 4 years old. But I always remembered this story because it was, the biggest story that he ever wrote. And I always thought it would make a good stage play. So I've adapted it for the stage. And while, again, because of COVID, we can't really perform it right now, I thought it would be fun to do as a staged reading on Zoom. And we did that last week, and my dad helped introduce the play, and it was just a lot of fun and very meaningful to be able to share that story with him in this context.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, that's awesome that you got to do that. And before I forget, we have to show off your shirt that you're wearing.
Oh, right. I wore my favorite theater shirt, which, if you can see it.
Yes, nice.
Yeah, it probably works both as an actor, and I do direct some community plays for the Farmington Players Barn Theater. So I like to wear it then when I'm not yelling at you.
That's fantastic. All right. Thank you, Tony. I tell all the playwrights before we start, it'll be 10 minutes tops, and I can talk to you all day. So thank you so much for doing this, and thank you for sharing your work with us. We're pretty excited.
Best of luck with the festival. I know you're going to get a great turnout and great response. So
I hope so, and pray that it doesn't rain. That's our big.
Yes.
All right. Everybody, tickets are at thesauk.org, or you can call the box office, but you want to see the Sauk shorts and see Tony's play Turbulence. Thank you for watching, and have a good rest of the day.
Thank you.